What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. And today we're going to talk about The Last of Us Episode 6 on HBO Max. And this episode is titled Kin, K-I-N. And I had some high hopes for this episode, and I just want to come here and do my weekly review for this series. If you're new to the channel, I've done every single episode leading up to Episode 6. I've been on the fence about this series. I haven't hated it. I don't love it. I'm very, if you follow me, or if you follow the Deadhead channel on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, things of that nature, I haven't been exactly fond of a lot of the decisions they've made in this show. I've been very critical, and I think I'm okay to have those opinions, and just like you have your opinions to think whatever you want of the show. So if you're watching this and you don't agree with a lot of things I say, that is a-okay. I'm giving you the reasons why I don't think it's as great as other people say it is. But I am happy to say that I actually didn't hate this episode. Okay, let me rephrase this. I don't hate any of the episodes, okay? There's some that I like more than others. I mentioned every single review, so I'm just going to go over really quick here. I thought the premiere was pretty solid. I gave that a 9 out of 10. I think the second episode was a solid 8 or 9 out of 10. Matter of fact, I just watched it. It's definitely a well-deserved 8, 8.5, 9 on good days. I think it was that good. And then I think after that, it just kind of wavers for me. Episode 3, I felt was kind of useless. I'm just going to say it. Has nothing to do with Bill being gay or anything like that. You hear all these things. If you just hate something, immediately you're a hater. And I'm sorry I hit my microphone. That's not why I don't like the episode. I just thought it was slow, and I didn't think it added anything to the plot. I gave it like an average rating. And then pretty much every episode from there, I've given it like a 6 or a 7 or something like that. So this show has been pretty average for me besides the first 2 episodes. And going into this one, I was actually really looking forward to what we were going to get here. I knew that Joel and Ellie, they're going to continue their journey after everything that happened with Sam and Henry. I knew that Tommy was going to make a comeback into the story. I just didn't know how they were going to tackle it. I knew that the inevitable Joel and Ellie conversation of, you're right, I'm not your dad, and you sure as hell ain't my daughter. I know that kind of probably switched that around there. That really real conversation where they really come to, where they come to terms with each other. They have that resolution after having this, okay, I'm not your father. You're not my daughter, and I'm not your father. And then, the sequence between Joel and Tommy, right? In the game, Joel comes to Tommy, and he's like, listen, man, I need you to take this girl off my hands. You know the Fireflies. You probably know where you can find them. I want to get the hell out of Dodge. In the show, it's a little bit different, so what they've really established is, Joel is a bit different from the games, in a sense where his body is more broken down. He's more of a, I guess you could say, realistic version of the character. Don't matter how you may dislike it or like it or not. I know that some people dislike it. I'm on the fence. I'm leaning more towards disliking it, but I'm also understanding that this is their version of the story. This is HBO Max's Craig Mazin's version of these characters. And so I kind of have to understand that. But they established Joel to be older in this show. He's a little bit more broken down in a sense where he's not this force to be reckoned with like he is in the games. He's pretty human in the games. However, he was pretty damn tough too. I mean, when you're playing as Joel, you're put in combat situations that probably any other normal person wouldn't survive. I always put that too, that Joel's a survivor. He survived this long, so he just became a brute force. But I understand how that can be unrealistic, because I think in the game he's like 52 years old. In the first season of the show, he's like 56. So I get he's a little bit older. But he tells Tommy, and I know I'm kind of all over the place, so I'm just going to kind of hit a couple things. But I did like the scene between Joel and Tommy. I really liked it. You see when they first see each other, they give each other a hug. I told my wife, poor thing, she's got COVID right now, so she's already, it's like 7:30 in the evening. She's already in bed, so hoping she'll get better. But anyway, we were talking about the episode we were watching it, and I thought Tommy was going to punch Joel in the jaw when he saw him. I was kind of expecting that, because Joel and Tommy obviously didn't end on good terms. I know in the game that's not what happened. There obviously there's some animosity there, but it didn't happen like that in the games. But I was kind of thinking that was going to happen the way Tommy looked at Joel, but it didn't happen. They embraced, it was a nice little moment. Obviously, the highlight of their dynamic is when they have the conversation and in the bar, and Joel tells Tommy, and he breaks down. He said, "Look, I can't protect her. That this punk kid that attacked us 5 years ago, I could have manhandled this guy, and now I had to have a young girl save my ass." And so it's very demoralizing to Joel, but also how I kind of felt it was he doesn't want to fail someone else he cares about. He failed his daughter. I know it wasn't his fault, but your number one job as a parent is to protect your kids, and he failed at that. Whether it was his fault or not, obviously a really terrible thing was going on that led to her death. But Joel feels responsible for that because his number one goal in life is to protect his kids, and he couldn't do that. So when he's having this conversation with Tommy, you see him start to tear up because he does care about Ellie. And I liked it, man. It was hitting me a little bit. Not like it. Okay, so my problem with the show is I don't feel like a lot of the emotional beats were there, and when they did have them, they weren't as well done as the game. I thought this was pretty damn effective because I'm like, okay, I get it. Like I'm not a father yet. Me and the wife are trying, but I figured I know that's how I would be. Like I don't want to fail again, and I care about her, but I just can't do this anymore. I can't make this trek across the country. I'm already halfway there, but I can't travel anymore. I can't protect her. I'm freezing up when I need to protect her. And he was looking for Tommy for guidance, and like, Tommy, like, I need you to take this. I need you to take this responsibility. I don't mean to put this on your life, but I can't do what needs to be done to make sure she'll be safe. And that part was really good. I will say, man, it was really good. Now, here's a scene I didn't think was as good. Okay, so I gave the show its flowers, man. All right, so now I got to shit on it a little bit. The scene between Joel and Ellie, the famous scene, right? So it kind of happens a little differently in the game. Ellie overhears that Joel was going to leave Tommy. Going to leave Ellie with Tommy. She overhears that. She flees, and she goes to this, like, nearby neighborhood. I would say it's a few miles away from Jackson. But Tommy and Joel set out to look for her. You fight a couple bandits along the way. You get there. You find her. She's up in a room reading a diary. And it has this really, really powerful moment between Joel and Ellie because Ellie knows that Joel is looking to leave her behind. And, Joel and Ellie kind of have like a thing there because Joel, he's trying to push Ellie away. It's not that Joel doesn't care about Ellie. He's just trying to push her away to keep her safe. I feel like that's what he feels like is the best thing to do. And so they try to do that in the show where, Joel's like, listen, I think you're going to be better with Tommy. And he's going through this whole thing. Ellie pushes him, both physically and emotionally when he says, look, I'm not your daughter. And then, Joel in the game goes, Ellie, you are skating on mighty thin ice here. Obviously, that's not what he said in the show, but he pretty much just said, stop. Don't talk about Sarah. And, that obviously struck a nerve because he's starting to look at Ellie in that same light. And, I thought it was acted pretty decent in the show. I didn't think it was terrible, but it just still, like, even when Ellie pushes him and said, everybody who I've ever had in my life has either left me or died. Everyone except for fucking you, Joel. Like, and she pushes him. I don't know, man. It didn't feel as emotional to me. When I saw it, I was like, okay, I've seen this conversation before and done much better with much emotional clarity, a little bit more depth. And I just didn't quite feel that here. It's nothing off on Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey. Again, I don't think they're doing bad in the parts they're given, the lines they're given. I thought Pedro Pascal did a good job as Joel. He felt very Joel-like to me. Even towards the end, obviously, end of the episode, he's found out in the stables and he's getting the horses ready. And he goes to Ellie and he's like, all right, so I'm going to leave it up to you because I think it'd still be better if you go with Tommy. And before he could finish his sentence, Ellie's like, let's fucking go. And I thought that was funny. Like, Ellie cares for Joel and Joel cares for Ellie. And so you're seeing that a little bit more and it feels right. It's finally to me feeling right. Now, and a lot of people want to say, because I criticize certain things about the show, they're like, okay, look, Joel and Ellie's relationship wasn't just like a quick thing. I totally get that. Most relationships in real life, guys, listen, and I don't know if some of you guys are not in relationships. Most relationships take a little bit of time. That's not what I was getting at with my criticism. I just didn't feel like Joel and Ellie had much chemistry. I didn't feel like the actors had chemistry. I think that they did their parts to the best of their ability, but I just feel like they didn't have the chemistry. And I'm not going to sit here and act like that they just automatically do. I'm not going to just say, what, like they throw away the past 5 episodes and now just say, oh, yep, that's my Joel and that's my Ellie. I'm still not there. However, I will say it has gotten better. I did like the scene with the rifle. Ellie's shooting. She can't shoot for shit. Joel's trying to teach her. And, Joel was saying, look, you got to hold her tight and rub her down. And he's like, saying all these like somewhat sexual innuendos while he's holding the rifle. And Ellie's like, are you going to shoot it? Or are you going to get it pregnant? And I was like, all right, that's, and the way Joel looks at her right there. And I thought that was good. That was very, very reminiscent of the game. And again, I know that you can't, I'm told, right? And like I said, I'm not trying to get into it, man. My last review, I went into a little bit of a rant and someone got pissy about it. But I don't need it to be exactly like the games. However, I do think that some of these big emotional scenes, if you're going to do them exactly like the games, you gotta have to have, like, the bar is already here. You know what I mean? And so it's pretty much you're not going to be able to break that barrier anyway. But I think that, between the chemistry between the characters, before, like, the portrayal, I just feel like it could be done better. And again, I don't think that's necessarily the actor's fault. I just think it's hard. It's just really, really hard to differentiate the two. Because, right, I'm pretty much, I still pick the game in every way possible. I just think it's just a better product. Anyway, so the episode ends. It's very rushed. They get to the college campus, find out the Fireflies are right there, get attacked by bandits. It's not the exact same. They're not up in the lab. A bandit comes, pushes Joel out of it, and he falls on the rebar on the ground. Instead, he gets in a fight with this other bandit. He ends up getting behind him, cracks his neck. Kind of find out he got stabbed, and so. Same difference. Ellie's over his body. You think Joel's dead. He's not. And sorry, spoiler alert. For you who have not played the game, I hope if I didn't completely ruin it for you. But I think Joel should be okay. I think. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. The show is kind of wild in the sense that, it does make some differences, but I don't think they would go that different. But, I still, another thing I will say is, dude, best part of the episode, by far, the music. The music in this show, in this specific episode, was perfect. That little meme of Homelander where it's like, it's perfect. Every down to the very minute detail, it was perfect. Like Homelander from The Boys. The music was so gosh dang good, dude. The music was it hit so well. Like they played The Path. If you guys know the Last of Us soundtrack, they played The Path right after Ellie and Joel are shooting the rifle and they get back on the horse and they leave. And I'm just like, dude, it was such a perfect time to play that music. And there's a couple of musical cues like that. And when they get to Jackson and man, it was just really, really good. It was so reminiscent of the game, and it was crazy because I was playing the Left Behind DLC on PS5, and then I watched this episode right after. So it just, I don't know. It just felt like I was kind of leaving the game and playing it and going to like a next part of the story, like as if I was still playing the game. So it was really cool. So look, I liked the episode. I still have my gripes. There's no infected. I thought that was strange. Where's the infected when they're out in the middle of nowhere? There's no infected or anything. Barely, obviously no fighting going on. I think that's just something they've been doing with this show. They're just focusing more on the story. I have my gripes with it. I don't agree with it. I think when you have an HBO Max budget, I think you should have a little bit more. yeah, and like I said, with that being said, with everything else, there's no gore still. But I've kind of just understand that I'm probably not going to see that, and I think I just need to let that shit go. But other than that, man, look, I'll give the episode a 7.5. Um, Maybe even I give it an 8 because I think it is a good episode. The more I think about it, the more I like it. I just wish some things were done a little bit better, and I think that's my major thing for this entire show so far. Is I do wish certain nuances would have been done better. But all in all, man, it's a good episode. I will give it that. I think that the character moments between Joel and Tommy was great. The one between Ellie and Joel, but the stuff that comes after with them shooting the rifle and things like that. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the rest of the season. I think the next episode, I could be wrong, but I think the next episode is going to be the Left Behind episode with where Ellie and Riley, they go in the mall and stuff. So I'm interested to see how they do that in the show, and yeah, maybe it'll be just as emotional, if not more, than the game. I doubt it, because so far I just don't think the show has reached that potential. But we'll see. So anyway, if you've been returning back for these reviews, there you go. I gave you a positive review. I gave you mostly positives, and then I gave you some negative because I have to, right? What did you guys think about episode 6 of The Last of Us TV show? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Do you feel the same way as me? How do you feel about the series so far, and how do you compare the writing to other shows you have watched? Because I'm curious. I'm interested. If you think this is the best written show, let me know down in the comments. And don't forget to sub for more reviews and more videos in the future. And with that being said, we'll see you in the next one. Stay dead, my friends.